this is very much a celebration, and basically it's just a coming together of both peoples from both peoples from such far distances who have travelled so far to come together to celebrate and to share thanks for, not only for the gifts of the past and the significance of that is even something that even I don't think that even as we all gather here, that we realise the significance of that original gift that was done completely out of selfishness and complete compassion, and without thinking of themselves, even though they'd gone through their own terrible, terrible sufferings only just a decade prior to the Irish famine. The Choctaw people and Choctaw nations decided to come together first and foremost in conversation. And it was because of that conversation when they came together and talked among their own peoples and they spoke of the tragedy of the Irish people, and because of the empathy that they had for the Irish people, because of the fact that they had gone through the same themselves, they decided to sell everything they had and send us as much aid as they could over to the Irish people during the famine. That gift, of course, was never forgotten, and of course, is the beautiful sculpture that stands behind us here by Alex Pentek is a tribute to the Choctaw people and to that original gift. And as the generations moved on, and the Irish people went through their own struggles and trials, and also the First Nations who continue to go through their struggles and trials. We all gather here today under these trees here in this sacred circle, really. And the reason for that is because although we are surrounded by trials and crises that are going on in the world at the moment and everything else, we can still take the time to share this moment together in love, really, and in in love for each other and for in friendship. And I think coming together in that spirit is really what it's all about, and to make to realize that for all peoples, really, that we need to come together now more than ever at any time in our lives. We need to now come together and come face up to the realities of our situations around us at the moment, and come together in conversation. I'm not going to babble on anymore. I'd like to just welcome everybody. Thank you very much to all the First Nations leaders and the members of the Navajo and the Cherokee, Choctaw and Crow Creek Sioux nations who come to gather and celebrate with us here today. And I hope that you all welcome them warmly. And please, as the opening prayers and music goes on during the day, feel free to gather, mingle and talk and just basically celebrate. That's what we came here to do. We came here to be with each other. So thank you all very much. I'd like now to welcome you. Sorry, my mistake. I was waiting on the order. I'd like to welcome John Henry.
Kindred Spirits background.
To do an opening prayer. John has travelled.
Going to do a song.
John is going to do a song, and so my mistake now. John is going to do a song for us, and please welcome Joan very, very warmly. She's a very, very special lady who has travelled thousands of miles to be with us all here today. Thank you.
We're going to be doing some smudging. This is from our plant nations. So we'll do a little bit of smudging. Then Joan will do her song. And then I'm going to do the opening prayer for us. And girl, so beautiful.
Wait, what's this?
Bring yourselves into the present moment here, and to bring yourself into the present moment here and now. And that's why the smoke is going around. It's also telling the spirits, oh, the one that made all things and the earth that holds us all up. It's telling them that we are here because this sage comes from where we come from. So we are grieving in the best way we know how. And what I'll sing for them and how Ezra will pray for them will bring us together. The spirits that come and follow us where we go, our ancestors and their ancestors, and spirits that are under the ground here looking up at us. That's not like us people talk about it more. We talk about it like that. We talk about it in that way. The spirits are looking up to the generations that are looking up from under the ground. Nashata is a day word. It means, do you understand? It's very old. And the answer is, hi. Nashata?
Hi.
Hi. If you didn't understand, I won't teach you that word one after word. So as that smoke goes around, are you guys hearing me all right in the back, or do you really want this thing?
Yeah, the head.
Okay, I'm just making sure, because I know that there's cars back there making noise. But as you get that smoke, just use a moment to clear your mind. Use a moment to clear your heart. Use a moment to clear your hands so the work of your hands is good. Use a moment to clear your belly so that everything that moves through your body comes out, whether it's children, or waste. It's all good. Waste becomes fertilizer. And goes back to Mother Earth like we do. Yeah? That's what we have in common with your original peoples. We know that all things go back to Mother Earth, and that circle continues. So I'm just gonna trust my drum has remained relatively dry. I don't trust that it's remained relatively dry as well as I would like. You're really good. We'll get to use this later. If we're really good, I'll hand this little tiny flute to my good friend Liam and see what he can get out of it. Parents will never say we lost or nothing, because it means we're not observant. It's our eyes and our ears. So I thank them for the beautiful lives that we already have and will have. And I thank them for bringing us to the What's amazing once now. And so I pass this to my elder sister Eshna. I pass the prayer to her to pray for the people. It's a tremendous honor to pray for the people. It's a tremendous honor to serve. And we are so happy.
I'm going to give voice to our prayer and our blessing and invocation. O beloved creator, source of the universe, manifest, unmanifest. Here are we here today gathered, not by accident. We come before you once again in deep reverence and deep gratitude for our very lives and for the very breath that we take that keeps us alive each moment. And we ask for your presence to be with us and all of the lords of creation and all of the angels and archangels and our ancestors. And we ask for the spirits of the four directions, east, south, north, west, and all the powers of the directions. And we invoke the elements, all of the elements, the great elements that bring forth the very substance of our bodies and the air that we breathe and bring forth earth herself. And we thank you for this opportunity that we have right now to come into greater communion with you, our own source, but also to know ourselves in our own beauty and our own divinity, because we have been suffering for so long, thousands of years, and we invoke your blessing. We invoke the blessings of love and beauty and harmony and wisdom, that they may enter our hearts and our minds with inspiration, the inspiration we need to come together and to perform with you the impossible, because right now humanity is in dire straits with our relationship with one another and with our earth. And so we ask this for the presence and thank you for the presence of all of our guides and our allies, the spirit nations of all the plants and animals, the birds, the insects, the waters, the air, and to open our hearts. Open our hearts ever more wide so that the love that you are and that we are can flow forth more fully through us and out from this very place. In this trees, we thank you, trees, for giving us your protection and your shade and your canopy, your natural umbrella to us on this, where we're having some rain today. And that you be with us and guide all that happens here so that it may ripple out in just the perfect way needed now for all of humankind. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. And we talk with the same.
Thank you, Reverend. Thank you so much, Reverend. And I would love now to very much to introduce Councillor Susan O'Leary with, oh, sorry, Susan McCarthy, my mistake, I have so many names in my head. Thank you very much, Susan.
Thank you, James, and thank you, Jamin, for organising this and inviting us all here today. It gives me great pleasure to be deputising for the County Mayor, Councillor Danny Collins, who can't unfortunately be with us today, but his loss is my gain. I have been, I suppose, involved with this since the very beginning. Unfortunately, it is one of our municipal district officer actually came up with the idea of this beautiful monument that stands in front of us today and brings us all together here today. And I think, you know, it's because of him that this has all happened and that this story has broken, this story that could have been lost forever. It's just wonderful that it has been uncovered. And I even think that the inclement weather that we're getting today doesn't really make any difference, because I think, you know, it just shows the resilience that both nations have shown and the solidarity between two nations that really and truly, back in those days, we really knew nothing about each other. And it's still a mystery today. It's mystifying and it's beautiful that somehow, some way, the Choctaw people who had been through so much, going through the Trail of Tears, just 16 years earlier, they had withstood so much and come through so much. And during the darkest hours of our history, and we had many, but the famine really was, and you know, to put a pun on it, a blight on our history. It really was. And during those darkest hours, that a small nation, thousands and thousands of miles away, somehow got a hold of the story and decided to come together and raise a not insignificant sum of money, all things considered, and offer it to the people of Ireland. And it is a wonderful thing that it has been remembered in this way. So I would like to pay tribute to our municipal district officer, Joe McCarthy, who unfortunately isn't here today. We must also, I suppose, recognise Alex Pentek, who designed the monument. It is just such a stunning monument, and we do have people coming from all over the world to see it now that this story has broken. For those of you here today who probably don't really know much about why this has gained such traction and such momentum, we have had many visitors to see this wonderful monument. But a wonderful thing then happened during lockdown, and some of you are aware of this, but an Irish journalist, I'm sorry, her name escapes me. Naomi O'Leary, yeah. She posted on Twitter that she had seen that somebody had set up a GoFundMe page for the Native Americans who were suffering very, very greatly during the time of COVID-19. And, you know, she said that this is our time to pay back. And the Irish people then came out in throngs and decided to donate to that page, to donate to that GoFundMe. And so it's almost like it's come full circle. So it's absolutely wonderful to be here today because for me, it's about the balance and the equilibrium. And it was wonderful to listen to Joan and Ejna, thanking the spirits and thanking Mother Earth and seeing it all come around again. So that's just my own little bit and why I'm actually so honored and just delighted to be here among you today. But I suppose I should really get to the formal part and also recognise a wonderful city Lord Mayor, Councillor Deirdre Ford, who is an old colleague of mine. We sat together on County Council for a number of years before the boundary extension of the city, and Deirdre moved into the city, where Douglas actually moved into the city. So we go back a long way, don't we, Deirdre? So it's really good to have you here. And I'd also like to recognise Councillor Liam Quaid, who's also Municipal District Councillor here today. So it's lovely to have you here. Again, I would like to thank Damon for the work that he has done in bringing this together today. So without further ado, I'm going to read the speech that was given to me for Councillor Danny Collins, the Councillor. It is truly an honour and a privilege to be here this morning to celebrate a remarkable bond that developed 175 years ago between two communities separated by thousands of miles. I would like to extend a very warm paid Míle Fáilte, or 100,000 welcomes, to our special guests here today. We are delighted to be joined by delegates from the First Nations of America, representing the Navajo, Cherokee, and Crow Creek Sioux people. It is very fitting that we're at the very beautiful Kindred Spirits Sculpture in Midelton for this opening event. It was created by Alex Pentek back in 2015 to commemorate the donation the Choctaw people gave to Ireland in 1847. That year marked the worst point of the Irish famine, which claimed the lives of 1 million people between 1845 and 1851, and resulted in the mass emigration of 1 million more. And I'm just going to add to that we had a population of 8 million people in Ireland at the time, and we lost 1 million to starvation. We lost 1 million to immigration, but we lost another 1 million in the following years. So we actually almost halved our population, while other nations continue to grow. So just to give you kind of an example, we were 8 million, and in the UK there was 11 million at the time. The UK population is now 65 million, and we are 5 million. So you can see how it has affected things. It really was a very, very dark shadow in our history. The Irish people, sorry, I just want to make sure I'm in the right place. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So in 1847, the Choctaw people extended a hand of friendship across the Atlantic Ocean and sent that money, what money they could afford, to help the Irish people. Their actions are considered to be the first act of international famine relief and have never been forgotten by the Irish people. The Irish people heard the call from the Navajo Nation during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 and reached out in response. It is estimated that €2.5 million was donated by the Irish people within the first 6 months. It shows that kindness, generosity, and compassion can overcome the passage of time, as well as the distance, language, and different cultures that separate people from each other. And I must also say resilience and solidarity. This wonderful celebration and unique Kindred Spirits Conference is about building upon these foundations and forming connections, understanding, and cooperation between communities across the world. It aims to make the world a better place for everyone. There is no doubt that together we are stronger. By working collectively and sharing ideas, we can really make a difference. The wind is not helping here at the moment. The wind is speaking to me. I think so. I think so. Together, we can really make a difference to this amazing planet that is all of our home. We need to do everything we possibly can to leave behind a better world for future generations. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the organizers of this Kindred Spirits Conference Ireland, James Desmond and Damon Shively, for bringing everyone here today, and I wish you the very best of luck with your events. Can I just say before finishing up, just from my own observation, you know, it was wonderful to watch the ritual from Ishna and Joe earlier on. But what really, really struck me was the instrument that you used. Joe, you used that instrument. I don't know what you call it, what the name of it is. It's just a drum. I love that. So we have in Ireland, we have from a very similar drum with animal hide, and it's circular in shape, held at the back, the way that you held it. And it's called the Bowron, B-O-D-H, or A-N, the Bowron. And it's just wonderful to see that, you know, we see instruments from all over the world, and we do see similarities, but it just really struck me how similar they are. They're so similar. You know, obviously the stick that you use, it's only one, whereas with the Bowron, there's you use your wrist to do this movement. You hit it from both sides of the stick. But I'm going to leave it to the musicians here. Maybe you never know, one of them might even have one. I hope they do, but if not, at least now you know about it. But look, it's absolutely wonderful to be here today. Thank you so much. You know, 1,000 thanks for asking me to be here today. And for Mila Mila Mohbis Winner. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I know it's my pleasure to introduce you all for my great pleasure. This Lord Mayor Theatre Forum. Thank you very much.
My goodness, that's the visual sculpture. And it's like, yeah, it's gorgeous. I feel like we should be having a picnic. Yeah, lovely food and yeah, absolutely. And of course, the session is unique. So thank you all for inviting me here this morning. Apologies for being late. The electric cars don't have the best sat nav. That's what I'm blaming that anyway. We're not blaming me. Councillor Susan McCarthy, President James Shibley, Mr. James Desmond, distinguished guests, members and leaders of the Navajo, Cherokee, Choctaw, and Crow Creek Sioux nations. As we meet here at the beautiful Kindred Spirits Sculpture by Alex Pente, it is an honor for me to be with you here this morning and to share mutual thanks of our peoples for the extraordinary Choctaw gift given all those years ago in 1847. A gift which resonates and touches us today and will continue to touch us into the future. The link that was forged all those years ago by that outstanding act will never be broken because it's a powerful example of man's humanity to man. The Kindred Spirits celebration and conference events include sharing with the world this beautiful example and connection of peoples who, despite living so far from each other across oceans with different language, culture, and backgrounds, built a rainbow, if you like, a rainbow of kindness, support, empathy, solidarity, caring, generosity, and compassion from the people of the First Nations of North America to the Irish people. How badly our other parts of the world this day could do with such a rainbow and such a gesture.
You know, I often wondered how that first conversation came about. What kind of person thought about the suffering of his fellow man and persuaded others, despite having much hardship themselves, agreed to share what little they had with those who desperately so needed it. They didn't do it thinking about a payback. No, their act was selfless and therefore far more powerful. It is wonderful today that we welcome you and are proud that the people of Cork City and County and the whole of Ireland were able to pay it forward by supporting Navajo and Hopi during the COVID crisis. And I started writing the speech late at night. And sometimes when I'm writing a speech, I like it to be matching the people I'm meeting, you know, it can't be just words, it has to mean something. So I'd like to finish with some words I read last night that I would like to dedicate to our visitors here this morning and to that one person that's made that difference. So it's a poem called One Can Make a Difference by Clarence Thomas. One seed can start a garden. One moment can change a life. One conversation can start a friendship. One step can start a journey. One word can say so much. And one smile can brighten a day. One small act of love can mean everything to someone. One person can make a difference. And to me, that person was your ancestor all those years ago. And that person now is you. Or if not,
Thank you very, very much, Catherine. Thank you very much. I'd love to introduce you, Joan, here now, who's going to talk to us about some of the COVID relief situation that has been affecting some of the First Nations and indeed the people of Ireland.
I'm going to pass the buck. I'm going to pass the buck to my little sisters from Dinnet. I'm going to pass the buck to the ones who are doing all of that hard work and who were the recipients, started the organization that documented everything that happened and continue to help, because that's what we do among our people, the First Nations, continue to help. So I invite, in whatever order you would like to be here, we're standing all together. Shandy, Vanessa, Jessica, Carrie is hiding. Carrie is recording. We might even get pale out of it a bit.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Gat Shandine Herrera Yanishia Tachini Nishlina Kaidashin but Anita Shachena Kaidashinella out Aidana Tanishla Auto Zabin Disguide Nasha. Hello everybody. My name is Shandine Herrera. I am from Monument Valley, Utah, located on the Navajo Nation. And I am one of the co-founders of the Navajo and Hopi Families COVID-19 Relief Fund. And I just want to first say thank you all for coming out in the rain. This is my first time in Ireland and first time in Europe. And so I'm just really excited to be here and blessed for the opportunity to meet all of you who, have been supporting us, throughout COVID. And I just want to give you a little bit of the backstory to how our relief fund came to be. In early 2020, we saw COVID rapidly spreading throughout the United States and the world. And we hadn't yet had our first COVID case on the Navajo Nation, but 12 Navajo and Hopi women came together to talk about how we might be able to protect our people throughout the pandemic. Most of our community still lacks basic resources like running water in their house, access to healthy foods, access to paved roadways. And so, there are a lot of infrastructural challenges our people faced. And so we knew that we needed to kind of come together and figure out how we could protect, our immunocompromised, our elders, and our most vulnerable. And with the government shutdowns we were experiencing, this was, something that was really challenging for us. And so we decided to start the GoFundMe that was mentioned in hopes to raise enough money to purchase food, medicine, PPE, and other necessary resources for families on the Navajo Nation and Hopi Reservation. These are very rural communities. The community I come from, Sky, is one of the more rural communities on Navajo. And so I know firsthand the experience to accessing basic resources. And when we launched this GoFundMe, initially our goal was $5,000 to $10,000. We just wanted enough to take care of our elders and who really needed it. But we saw how impactful this GoFundMe was in reaching audiences that really understood the plight of our people. And within 4 days, we had raised over $100,000, and it just kept growing from there. And it was in about May of 2020 when we started really watching our GoFundMe. And at that time, Aaron Yazzie, who's a Navajo engineer that works for NASA, had sent that tweet out, talking about how, this Native-led organization was doing really great community work and protecting our people. And that is where this story was picked up by the Irish Reporter. And really just, we started seeing so many donations come in from Ireland. And I was looking at some of the data yesterday, and we received over $1 million from over 29,000 donors from Ireland throughout, COVID, throughout our COVID relief work. And it was just really incredible to see that support, especially for an Indigenous-led effort. Because, we started this because we know our people best. We know how to protect our people. We know the circumstances our people live in. And through our relief fund, we were able to provide support to families on the Navajo Nation and Hopi Reservation. So on Hopi, there are 12 villages that we were able to serve. And we served over, we did over 500,000 deliveries to households on the reservation. Our GoFundMe is still open, so we're still seeing donations come in, which is really important to us because we are seeing COVID starting to rise in our communities. But since we've opened that GoFundMe, we've raised over $7.6 million, and had over 100,000 donors from all over the world, really. And so it's just really incredible to see that outpouring support for our communities, knowing that, we weren't receiving support from, any government entity. It was just coming from people who understood the challenges and who wanted to show up for each other, and that generosity. And myself, I hadn't known about the history between Choctaw and the Irish, and learning that and experiencing, the direct benefit, because I, in addition to being one of our co-founders, was on the front lines delivering, to our elders, to our families across Navajo. And so to be on the beneficiary end of that, to see the families receive food and PPE and medicine, knowing those funds came all the way from Ireland, was just a really amazing opportunity for me. And so I'm just really excited to be here with all of you and kind of taking this moment together, and just want to say, thank you so much for welcoming us to your beautiful land, and thank you so much for answering the call when our communities needed help. So,
Everybody for being here. Yache. She Jessica Steven Shea, but unusually those of Gambashin. He only dashes are those of Grandishnala. Dating Dent Nasha, Ado Shavan A, Bashamil Dent, Shama A, Lula Stego, yeah, Dosha A, Philip Stego, yeah, Dent. Altego, Sonishla. I am from Winslow, Arizona. My home is in Winslow, Arizona. It's just off the reservation in a small community called Tisto, and about 40 miles north of where I live now. My name is Jessica Stego. I am from the Folded Arm Clan of the Dene Nation, and born for from the Cliff people of the White Mountain Apache Nation. My maternal grandfather was Kia'ani, which is Towering House people, and my paternal grandfather was also White Mountain Apache from the Roadrunner clan. I am one of the founders of the Navajo Hopi COVID-19 Families Relief effort. I was one of the 12 women that initially came together, and one of our major concerns when we started the relief effort was that I live in Winslow, which is just off the reservation. It's what we call a border town. And when the pandemic started and, the first cases started showing up in the United States, probably similar to here, there was a panic and people were buying, loading up on food and water. And even when I was going to the store where I lived, I do live in a small town, it's about 10,000 people, rural as well. There were empty shelves in the stores. And so my people where I live, where my family is from on the reservation, which is 40 miles north, it's an even smaller community. They come into where I live to shop. And so I knew that they were going to be traveling an hour to get here, once the pandemic started rolling, they would be taking that risk to come into town to get food and water. And yet there would be nothing on the shelves. And they would have to go home and then try again the next day. And I knew that was going to start happening. And if I was having trouble living there, it was going to get impossible for them to access food and water. And so that was all in all of our minds when we got together and started meeting and figuring out what are we going to do. And like Shandine said, we said, let's, try GoFundMe account. Let's see what we can start doing. We can at least start getting food and water and keeping it where we could give it out when people needed it, or on an emergency basis. We were also concerned that if the pandemic spread on the reservation, and this is both for Hopi and Navajo, that when we had households where up to 10 people could live in the same two-room house. So it was going to spread pretty quickly throughout the household. There would be young kids there, children as well as elders. And so, we knew that this was going to be really bad, and it was at a point where there were times that it was really scary that it would, when we started seeing people getting sick and it got really bad, and people around us were passing away on a weekly basis. It was really, really frightening, because we were facing extinction basically. And we knew that. And so what was amazing was that all of our people understood that. And once we started contacting people, and we live in rural areas where we're used to traveling 2 hours, 3 hours to see each other, to have meetings, to go to work even. People travel 2 hours to go to work. And that was no big deal. So we started reaching out to people in our communities. And we started organizing, and it was just amazing that some people I had never met before. In fact, Mary and I just barely met in person about a month ago, even though we've been working together for 2 years. And when we reached out, people responded. And it was so nice to have the resources that we needed to be able to meet somebody. You know, I would drive out. I rented a truck one day, a U-Haul truck. We learned so much about distribution and about hauling heavy things. And I'll tell you a funny story, but when we reached out, I would be traveling, 2 hours to deliver some water or make a delivery of some sort. And I didn't know who was going to be meeting me. And we were meeting at like intersections on the reservation, which there could be nothing around for miles, but we were meeting at 2 roads that meet together. Somebody was going to meet me. I didn't know who it was going to be, and I'd never met them, and I didn't even know if they were going to show up. And I would never have done this on any normal time. But I was amazed that every single time people showed up. Every single time somebody showed up to get that water, to get that food. And I could tell that it's because it was needed, but also that, people understood what we were facing. And it's amazing that when we started seeing the donations from Ireland, it made us feel like we were seen. It made us feel like that there were people across another continent that could understand who we were as people, and that our people were valued. And so that's what we experienced. And I'm just so grateful to be here, and also to bring the appreciation from our people, because that is part of what we do. It's part of our culture, that we show appreciation to other people, and that we recognize what what you all from this country did for us, and the way that you made us feel, and that, in our dire situation, you were there for us. And just another part of the experience I told you. So I was in charge of water deliveries, and we were purchasing bottled water in bulk, and we also received 24 trucks of water that was donated to us. And none of us are in distribution. None of us. It was all women. We had one male, thank God, that helped us, because we quickly learned what a forklift was. We quickly learned what all of the equipment that we needed. We were having to calculate how much water a 2-ton truck could haul, a dually, And one day I rented a U-Haul truck, and I was going to do a water delivery about 2 hours from where I lived. I had to drive an hour to Flagstaff to pick up the U-Haul. And I was taking a pallet of water. No, I was taking 3 pallets of water in a U-Haul truck. We thought it would be fine, U-Hauls can haul that should be fine. I'd never really driven a U-Haul truck before, but I did. And the pallet of water was wrapped in plastic shrink wrap. So we didn't think anything about it. We had to find a forklift. We got the forklift we got the pallet off the truck onto the U-Haul. And I got on the road. And by the time I got to where I was going, I thought I did fine, but I got to my destination and the shrink wrap had all come apart, and it was cans of water. So the whole back of the truck, U-Haul truck, was just filled like piles of canned water. So the whole thing fell apart, and they said, "How fast were you going?" And I thought, I don't think I was going that fast. And I'm like, "Was there hills? Was there road curves?" I said, "No, I just turned once." So somewhere, and they said, "Didn't you feel the shift of the weight?" And I said, "No, I didn't." So I guess some point I turned too fast, and the shrink wrap didn't hold the water. And so, but thank goodness that where I was going was actually a youth facility that held juveniles. And so it was all of those juveniles that they formed a line, and they just quickly repacked the water, took it out of the back of the truck and repacked it in stacks of water. And so it took about an hour for them to do it. It was amazing. And that's just, again, the people, everybody who could help was there. And so it was just a really beautiful thing. And also to add to that, now with the work, we've shifted from doing direct relief and mutual aid to looking into the future and what we need to do. One of our guiding principles is to become pandemic proof. And what that means for us is, continuing that spirit of giving that we experience around the world and also in our communities, but also, it's amazing that we were able to feed over 500,000 families with the resources that we were able to get. And the way that we did that, was just by doing it. We just did it. We didn't have any training on it. We didn't know. We had, and we live in a place where not everybody has internet access. We have to drive or go up the hill. My uncle will commonly call me. He'll get on his horse and go up one of the hills so he can get cell service and call me. So that's the kind of, the communities that we come from, and we were able to do this. And so, how do we continue that momentum in getting things done and providing services for our people and finding those resources that we need and utilizing them well so that people have what they need? And so that's what we're trying to continue and what we're moving forward to. We did open up a community center that Shundeen operates, and looking to do additional bringing resources such as entrepreneurship classes, courses in how to use a computer, and getting people access to the internet in the community center where we live, but also teaching more of our traditional activities like farming, creating jewelry, working with silver, working with the stones, and bringing back a lot of those traditional elements of our culture that people still have, but they're not able to offer anywhere. They don't have the tools to build a business, or they don't have the tools to market their products or services, or we don't have the infrastructure on the reservation to really be able to provide our people with a local economy, so they don't have to travel an hour to get food or water, that it's offered right there in their communities. And so that's what we're headed toward now, and that's the work that we'll continue to do. So I'm going to ask Mary.
Hello, my name is Mary Francis, and I am one of the co-founders as well, and I'm very happy and grateful to be here today. And thank you very much for inviting us to be here and bringing us here. And, you know, we're just very grateful about that. Where we live, we would say that it would be the same size as West Virginia. If you guys have a chance, maybe look up West Virginia, and our nation is about that size. It is a pretty large tribe, but the land is very sparse and it's very dry. So it's very, really hard for us to plant certain types of foods. And, you know, there on our nation, we have at least 7 major grocery stores, and that's all we have. And, you know, the nearest, you know, for each family that live out on the, you know, the Navajo Nation, it takes them anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 hours to get, you know, to make a trip. And then it's another hour or 2 hours to get home. So that made it very difficult for our families to have all their necessities. So that's why we came together. But you know, you guys have all heard Shondine and Jessica share with you guys our hardships. And but I just wanted to give you guys insight on how that went about for us. And we did mention the 12 co-founders that came together. And I just want to mention their names the best way, you know, the best I can. So Ethel Branch, I think you guys have all heard her name and you guys are familiar with her. She's our our executive director. And then we also have Cassandra Begay, she's our deputy director. We also have, let's see, Teresa Hattopley. She was our logistics coordinator, and she's now Arizona State Senator. And yes, and we have Vanessa Tooley. She's one of our board members. And we also have Shondine Herrera. She's our Tebi Nziske Community Center Director. And our Tebi Nziske Community Center has been it's our very first pilot hub. So she's been doing a great job directing that and getting it going. And Jessica Stego, she's also one of our board members. And I took care of a lot of the direct relief, managing a lot of the logistics after maybe in the second year, you know, just working with all the communities. So on the Navajo Nation, we have 110 chapters. And what is our population again? Yes. It's 170,000 people. Okay. And enrollment is over 400,000, sorry. But, you know, with that also give you guys an idea of, you know, the people that we worked with. So it was challenging. And I just wanted to also give thanks to our volunteers that came together. In total, we had over 800 volunteers. And, you know, it was something else to experience. And on top of that, you know, we've seen what, you know, Ireland has done for us as well. You know, everybody contributing and coming together. And in a dream world, that that was a dream world that became reality. And I just want to say, yeah, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know, we were just so concerned for the elders. And, you know, there was so much going on and so much hardship, but I'm thankful for all my sisters that, you know, we have come through and made, you know, things happen. And I'm so thankful for our newfound relatives. And I'm so thankful for everyone. And yeah, you know, that's all I'd like to share. But before I hop off, I'm going to let my son do an introduction. I just want him to introduce himself. He is 12 years old. We spent the majority of the pandemic together. He did online schooling. And so, but we're ready to go back in person. He is so ready.
Bill, okay. Well, my plans are touching this destiny to tell my business to Nigeria, National.
Thank you. So what he did say is his 4 clans, our 4 clans. The Navajos, us Navajos, we have 4 major clans. The first one represents us, me, and my mother. So he would inherit my clan. So that is Ye'idina Tachitin. And in English, that is Red Running into the Water clan. The second clan, my clan, is Tapaha, and that is Water's Edge, Edgewater. And then the third clan is Loka, and that is the Reed people clan. And the fourth clan is Lizahana, and that is the Mini Goats clan. So with that, I just want to say thank you very much, and I'm very happy to be here. So, yeah. Mary mentioned a couple more of our co-founders. There's Dolores Gray Eyes, Dr. Dolores Gray Eyes, and also from the Hopi tribe, so the Navajo Nation is 400,000, as Mary mentioned. The Hopi tribe is actually they're a very distinct tribe that's separate from the Navajo Nation. They're their own tribe. They're located just a little bit north of where I'm from, Tisho, and they consist of, I believe, 7 villages. Most of their villages were closed to outsiders during the pandemic. So we partnered. There were some Hopi women also on the founding members. Lillian Hill. Oh, Pamela Lalo. They organized their own food delivery service. So we would take our resources or have deliveries taken to their location, and then they, within their networks on Hopi, were able to get it out to the villages. And one thing, so their land base is actually surrounded completely by the Navajo Nation. So they're very much neighbors of ours, but they are very distinct people. And one of their main villages, their oldest village, is called Arrivi. And that's actually one of the oldest still inhabited villages in the world. So you can, if you're ever in Arizona, they're actually very careful about letting tourists into their land as well. But there's a lot to learn about them and their culture as well. So I wanted to mention, and
the Hopi tribe as well, and our partnerships there, which are also still ongoing. And okay, so one of our partners there is Samantha Honani, and she also wanted us to express their appreciation to the Irish people as well. I'm going to have Vanessa come up.
All right, thank you so much for attending this event and providing your support. I think the ladies covered everything regarding the relief effort, but I just want to add that, there is hope. And I've seen that here today. And I've learned about that a lot while we've been here. So I want to thank you for the invitation to Ireland. Last night when we were having our final discussions on our hopes for today, James' mother-in-law here is 92 years old, and she expressed to us that her grandmother experienced the famine. And I could imagine how difficult it was for all your families to suffer through those hardships and not to have the support of your government or your leaders, and having to go through that together. And I am so grateful for our Choctaw relatives for showing their care and their concern for your communities, because that means a great deal. And for our Navajo people, we're a matrilineal society, so a lot of our strength comes from our women. And in growing up, my grandmother taught us we are five-fingered beings. You don't say you can't. When you experience hardship, you take your hands and you make good use of them. So I just want to express that to you all, that there is hope. And also throughout this, I'm going to call it a movement. Throughout this experience and movement, it's been my greatest concern to protect our elders and then also teach our youngsters. For my regular day job, I own a home care agency that provides training to caregivers and support. And I also have a large family. I have 6 daughters, and I made sure that they were able to witness, our frontline work. They were with me when I went out shopping, and we loaded up several vehicles, and we made trips up north, where we coordinated people to come and pick up the food. I live in Phoenix, which is the largest city in Arizona. And so I had access to the larger big box stores and was able to create a partnership with Shamrock Foods, which we also talked about, the synchronicity of our relationship and our interconnectedness. And that was one of the funny little facts that I realized recently, So Shamrock was able to work with us because all the restaurants were closed, and they're a large food distributor. And they had to work with their transportation team to make sure that they were able to make deliveries to these rural communities. And their transportation manager was able to say, okay, as long as there's pavement to this community, we can make the delivery. So that's how we set up our distribution points. And that made it easier for us a little bit. And like Jessica said, we knew nothing about logistics. So a 50-pound bag of potatoes, we had to kind of figure out how long that was going to last the household. And then we had to have our teams break the bulk items down and sanitize them And eventually we had our health and safety protocols developed by Ethel. And, you know, I also want to lift up Ethel and Cassandra. They're not here today, but they made things happen. They were empowering, they were great support to us and the volunteers. And now Ethel's running for the Navajo Nation presidential seat. So there's a lot of work going forward, but as I mentioned earlier, there is hope. And, you know, I just want to thank you guys for, again, supporting us and allowing us to be here today. So thank you so much. Here you go, James.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. And we'd like to take the opportunity now, first and foremost, to maybe hold a minute silence, a moment silence for those who passed during the COVID on both sides of the oceans, or all sides of the oceans, I should say. Thank you. Thanks. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ezra, we'd love to welcome back Ezra, please, for a few words. Thank you very much.
Take some deep breaths. What is brought us here? What has brought us here is this beautiful quality that we have, carefulness, and so I need to talk about spirit. You know that creation creation isn't here by an accident. I mean, look at this beautiful, beautiful place we are in. And we didn't come here by accident. I want to acknowledge that you're here for some kind of a purpose, even if it doesn't look like a great plan. It really is true. And when I knew that I was coming here, I actually was given a couple of inspirations for this gathering right here, right now. And I want to share a couple of those. And one of them is actually, there are three. So the first one is about the tree of life. The tree of life, and here we are gathered under this tree, under these trees. And listen, it's not an accident. But the tree of life is something that is actually acknowledged in almost all traditions all over the world. And so what the message is about the tree of life that is inside of you, it's in your spinal column. That's a tree of bones. And then you have the tree, the blood vessels, that's your heart. And then you have the tree of your nervous system. And there are many other trees. The tree of your nervous system is the electricity, the fire that's igniting in you. And then there's the trees that we see in the land itself. The trees themselves, but actually all the rivers are trees because they come from the tendrils of the mountains into the brooks and into the rivers, into the great rivers and into the ocean. But that's a tree also. And the lightning bolts are trees. And the Great Milky Way is actually part of a tree galaxy. They're galaxy clusters. And they're great galaxy clusters. So, Creator, Great Mystery is bringing forth all of life through all of these worlds of trees. And all of these trees are in different states of vibration. And so the second thing I want to talk with you about that I know that we need to acknowledge is our consciousness, our awareness itself, to be able to feel and to be aware of these trees inside of ourselves. And that we're actually been learning more and more and more about the tree nature of ourselves and our interconnected beingness. But how we do this is by our awareness. We're awake. We're awake. We're actually awake to notice our thoughts. Our thoughts are here, but what's noticing our thoughts is we're aware of our thoughts. And we have feelings, but we're aware of our feelings. So that is consciousness, and it's a great mystery, but it's one of the gifts of creation. And our awareness goes beyond our physical bodies, which is so wondrous. And to be able to smell the fragrance, that is one way that the earth and Creator is teaching us, is through fragrance. And then sometimes you go into a room and you can tell what's the atmosphere of the room. And sometimes it's a really convivial or uplifting, but sometimes you can feel sadness. But the awareness is a gift, a great, great gift of community. And the third very important thing is our feelings, but what is the most important feeling? Love. And love itself has many levels. It has the level of just like a little bit of care, but then there's a more powerful love that comes between lovers. And there's a love between the mother and the baby, and the father and the baby, and the love between families. And then there's a love of compassion, where you feel not only yourself, but you can feel what is actually happening within another person. And so your heart start to have the mixture of your love and your consciousness. And then there is the love of the animals and the plants. And they are actually available for relationship and to feel. And so our capacity to love is just kind of ignored. Love is kind of, and spirit are kind of relegated over like, oh, that's over there, that's nananunu, or it's too mushy, or, but actually, in your heart, where you can start to feel the love, it gets scary. It gets scary to love because there's so much beauty and tenderness. The tenderness that you feel when you smell the newborn baby's breath. You feel the silkiness of the warmth. But that tenderness is what can bring down the tides of the other feelings, of the angers, the resentments, of the tides of bitterness, and all these things that we've been afraid to really know, but that we really do need now to bring forth this love, our love, greater love, and this spirit that has been alive for 175 years. Communication, caring, supporting one another. Because our world right now, with the way the climate is, the unknown nature of it being out of control, and the food and people of it affecting our whole economies, we don't really know, we don't really have clear answers. But guess what? We have our love and our resilience. We have the ability to come together and learn how to drive a truck when you don't know how to drive a truck. Figure out how long 50 pounds of potatoes will feed somebody. Because this is what we're going to be needed to do, is bring ourselves together. Care for one another. Because we don't know how the food will be, say, in 1 year. Because food distribution, even in the United States, is very haphazard. The stores have a lot of empty shelves. So food scarcity is already taking place in our planet. But we humans, and this is a challenge, it's spiritual challenge for us to mature to a greater level and to come together and to discover the inspiration that comes with love. Because when you're in love, you see things and you understand things that you weren't able to before. There's a quality of clarity that comes the more you love and the more it's a purification process. And so over the next 3 days, or actually continuing today and then the next 3 days after this, we're going to be having meetings and conversations together about this challenging time that we're in. And in the spirit of love and caring and compassion, but also the brilliance, because what happens when you love, you become shining and you become more brilliant and you become more intuitive and the synchronicity and creator and the creation and all of the plant and animal nations, all the spirit nations can touch and help us, so that where you think, oh, I need to call Joe, then Joe calls you, or better yet, Joe all of a sudden is there. So the spirit of synchronicity, the spirit, that's great spirit working with us, and that's called co-creation. And I haven't been really known for having. I mean, I know I have a sense of humor, and I've been wanting more to bring that forth in some way or the other, because I tend to be just, well, how I've been just here now. And but when I woke up this morning, and I was not afraid. I wasn't afraid because the love that is shown, and that I know that we're all capable of universal love. Our hearts can grow and expand to hold all one another and just solve all things. But this is the way I woke up this morning with this. This is another message from my soul, the Great Spirit. It's talking about our nose. You know how people say, oh, follow your nose. Follow your nose. And I was saying, but it said, but don't look down too much. Because if you follow your nose, you're going to walk yourself into a hole. And so, and then it said, but when you're following your nose and you want to go to a point, don't turn your head too much, because you're going to end up going all over the place and not going to where you need to go. And so the point of this is when your heart is guiding you, then you don't need to follow your nose. You follow your heart, and it guides your whole being. And we need this guidance right now, our heart, and the brilliance of who we truly are, and the beauty that we truly are, and the caring and compassion that we're capable of. It's in every single one of us. And we're afraid of it because when our heart gets broken, it does truly hurt, but then you go through the grief and through the pain into a greater love. And there's always more love to catch us, always more love to guide us. So let's follow our hearts, which are going to guide our noses.
Level a lovely tune there, first of lads. I guess Ellen Pipe up there, and the lads will give us a tune there next. So please all just enjoy the music for the moment and mingle and talk, please.
How are you?
If you want. Anyone wants to?
Sorry.
That's it.
I just thought, was I muted long, guys? Just a quick message. Was I muted for long?
No, just for a minute.
Two.
Oh, sorry, because I have a battery pack.
Okay. Thank you very much, lads. And if you wouldn't mind, we'll have Mr. Leo O'Reilly put the house. So we'll give us a song there.
I'll just throw one in, yeah.
Do.
I don't want to interrupt the flow.
No, if at all, by all means, you're more than welcome.
Great sound.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to sing a love song from Connemara, which is west. And a lot of our songs would have been sung as love songs to people, but they were actually love songs to the land and to our old way of believing. So I sing it with this in mind.
Do you gentlemen mind if I answer that? In our tradition, when something like that happens, we answer.
Wait. 1 second.
In our tradition, when earth songs are sung, we answer from the other side of the house. This happens in our ceremonies all winter. It happens in the summers. It happens when we greet each other. It is traditional that songs are sung to greet people in the most ancient way when they meet for the first time. It's always remembered that we meet nation to nation, and that is acknowledged through the singing thereof. So he warned me it would be a good one, so I have to answer in time. And answer on behalf of those across the water. So I'll answer in, I can tell you what it means, but you'll feel what it means, because you see the day we got. You see the day we got. We called that coming together like that, all of that. That's how we got this. And that's how we'll make it different. We sung it right up. We played it right up. That's how it works. That's how sound works. That's how it goes. So sometimes this uses a drum. The councilwoman, before she left, she asked me what we call this, and I thought, well, in my mother's language or my father's language, here's what we call it. But in Chalagi, this is a huli. This is a holy. So it's not an accident that this, which carries the heartbeat, is so close to the word, or that which carries what's associated with light, sound. This song, it means peace over all Mother Earth. Peace over all Mother Earth. One is singing for that reason. They're all singing for that reason. They are all singing for that reason. Dream, live for that reason. That's what it means. Now let's see if we can get some more music. On the east side. You just have to have water. Yeah, get a couple out of you and then we'll see if we can't get this one. Yeah. Take care there. You're all going on.
It's beautiful.
I said somebody better take a picture of me, and I don't believe you're actually here today.
Are you gonna play now, is it? Okay, guys, for anyone who can hear me, I think there's about 15 minutes left of the event, so we'll just be music and kind of gathering for that. Everybody's kind of huddled in their little conversation, so it'll just be music and talking. So have a biscuit as well. Have a biscuit. Have a biscuit.
Haven't lighted off. Shall light a gas stove.
Yeah.
Do you want me to hold?
If you can hold the camera straight, and I'm multitask here. Oh yeah. Thank you. Sorry. We're going dancing around the feathers. Nice ball. Woo.
Beautiful. And just before the band carries on there, I'd like to welcome a very special person here who's one of the men behind all of us being here as well today. And he'd like to say a few words just to say welcome to all of you and talk about what the rest of the day is about for all of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James, and thank you for your beautiful leadership, bringing us all together. Thank you so much to all of our guests who have traveled from so far from the First Nations of the Americas to be with us today to share such beautiful messages. Thank you so much to our musician friends for such beautiful music. Much, much appreciated. And thank you, all of you, for being here today. I would like to make a special invitation that the day will continue after our celebration here, starting at 3 p.m. here local time at the Silver Springs Hotel in Cork City, on the east side of Cork City. At the Tivoli Conference Center, we will have the Kindred Spirits Conference. This is the Kindred Spirits celebration. And at 3 p.m. we commence the Kindred Spirits Conference, starting with a press conference. And Susan, would love for you to speak if you can make it. And at the press conference, there will be many speakers led by our guests, our honored guests from the First Nations of the Americas. We will have expert scientists and engineers in the hour that follows, talking about the world's most daunting problems, including exponential global warming, the destruction of the biosphere, and our options for going forward. We do have options. We do not have to continue the path of destruction that we are on. And the first thing we need to do is come together in conversation. Conversation always precedes action. So please, everyone is invited. Please call your friends, text your friends, tell them, join us starting at 3 p.m. Everyone is welcome at the Tivoli Conference Center at the Silver Springs Hotel, starting at 3 p.m. today. The conference, the first section will go from 3 to 6 p.m., then we'll have a break, and then an evening conversation from around 8 to 10 p.m. And then the following 3 days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week, we commence the third portion, which is what we call the Garden of Conversations. So we go from, you could think of it with a biological analogy, from a monocellular or unicellular conversation, which is later today. We will all be in the same conversation this afternoon and evening. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we will have multiple conversations going in parallel. And you, and yes, I'm talking to you, each and every one of you, you are welcome to host a conversation on whatever topic you would like pertaining to saving, healing, and transforming life on Earth. There's more information on our website, kindredspirits.earth, or come up to me or any of us if you have any questions. And thank you all once again for being here. It is such an honor to be with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Damien.
Thank you very much. Put a warm hand together at the German side. Thank you very much. Would you like to say anything?
Put her on the spot.
Why not? And then like that Minister James Martin and Melissa would like to say a few words. Melissa is a very shy and modest person, but very much behind the scenes and very helpful. And I have to say as well to Patricia, Melissa's mother, 92 years young, and travelled all the way from America to be with us.
Come
Thank
back
you
home.
very much, Patricia.
Thank you. Wow, I wasn't expecting that to say anything. I want to first thank all our sisters who come from America to be here with us. It's a really great honor to have you here, and all of the Irish. It's so great to meet all of you. I'm feeling my ancestry come alive because I'm Irish as well and Native. But I think the message that I want to impart to us today is really the urgent need for us to reconnect with Mother Earth and all of the sentient beings we share this planet with. All the insect life, the fish, the birds, we've kind of forgotten them. And they are our brothers and sisters, the water, the air, the land, the trees that Edna was mentioning. And remember that we are all of one family, and once we start to have consciousness around that, then I believe we will act differently towards nature and Mother Earth. And then whatever choices we make, whatever actions we take, we'll think about how does that affect Mother Earth? How do our actions hurt or heal Mother Earth and all the sentient beings we live with? I'm a visual artist, and I use my art as a vehicle for transmitting this message. So all of you can practice your gifts, because we all have myriad gifts, and bring them together collectively, whether it's music, dance, poetry, whatever you do, but use your skills and your gifts in this new way so we can build this new world together. And we're already a new tribe here, which is really wonderful, of all ages, all colors, speaking different languages. I don't know in Ireland, but in America, we've forgotten our elders. We put them in retirement homes. We forgot the children. We have nannies. And we need to bring in the divine feminine, this gentleness, this loving one another and loving the earth. And I think what I'm discovering here in Ireland is you are very matriarchal, and the divine feminine is alive in your men and your women. And also we have this in communities and culture. I think in America we've gotten very far from this, but we're working on changing this. So thank you all for being here, and please come and join us later and bring your voices. Don't be afraid to speak out. Speak out for what calls to your heart. We live in the Northwest, and what called to my heart were the orca whales. I dream about them, and they swim past where we live. And I don't know if you all read a few years ago, Chickasaw, who was a mother orca, gave birth to a baby, but she starved. The orcas are starving to death because they can't get enough salmon. And her baby was stillborn, and she carried that baby on her back for, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks. She swam thousands of kilometers with her baby to show humanity, please help us. Stop overfishing. Stop with the shipping. Stop with the pollution. And that message was loud and clear from the orca whale. And this struck me so hard that it totally transformed my whole life and the way I practice my practice. So you can do the same, and I took that on board as a mission, if you like, as a quest for the ways I could use my voice to be impactful in positive ways on this earth now. So blessings to all of you, much love, and pass it to our fantastic musicians. I can't wait to hear you guys. Oh, excuse me. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you very much, Melissa. And Susan, just to give us a song there before the band plays. So thank you very much, Susan.
Young Willie McBride, do you mind if I sit here down by your graveside? I see by your tombstone you're only 16 when they lowered you down to the fiddler's green. I hope you died well and I hope you died clean. For young Willie McBride, was it slow and obscene? Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife slowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last waltz and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? For young Willie McBride, did you really believe when you answered the call that this was the war that would end all war? Or did you know all along that it's only a game, and the sorrow and the suffering were all done in vain? Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife slowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last waltz and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest? And did you leave a wife or a sweetheart behind? In her faithful heart, are you forever alive? Or did you die all alone without even a name? In a torn photograph, in an old battered frame? Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife slowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? Did the band play the last waltz chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers of the forest?
Right. That's it now, lads, the band.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls pick their fabric. When will they ever learn? When will
time ago. Where all the old men gone? They are all in uniform. When will they ever learn? When will they where will all the soldiers gone? Long time I sing. Where will all the soldiers gone? Long time ago. Where will all the soldiers gone? Consecrate us everyone. When will they ever learn? 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 When have all the graveyards gone? Long time passing. When have all the graveyards gone? Long time ago. When have all the graveyards gone? Gone to flowers, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? Where are all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where are all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where are all the flowers gone? Young girls pick them, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever When will they ever learn? 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 Thank you very much. Thank you. I love to play tunes on the pipes. We love the pipes. We do. Yeah.
Just do a little walk around of what else is happening.
Oh, yes, yes.
Well, welcome everybody.
John, can you?
We're gonna, I muted it and now we won't be able to unmute it. Should have to unmute it. I'm sorry about that. We were gonna go ahead and talk, so raise your hand if you want to say some words about how you felt about this experience, and we'll unmute you.
Yeah, everybody should be able to unmute themselves now if you're, so please, Shannon, looks like you're first.
Thank you so much. I just want to say how magical this has been to work together in order to bring these people together in such a good way, and to hear their expressions of gratitude and to witness what has happened here, to be a part of their conversation. I feel very honored and grateful. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Grand Rising, everyone. This is Kate in Western South Dakota, and I'm feeling, let us remember that we can sing and dance and pray together rather than the fussing and fighting. Isn't it so much more fun? And so I mean, one heart at a time. We're building a world based on love and that new structure that we know has to come into being. So grateful to all these people to hear the songs and the words. It was very special. I do feel honored and grateful you're all here.
We're grateful for you, Kate. Thank you so much.
Also, like, gratitude for sending me a oh my god, warm hearting. Really, this is so great. I had tears of joy several times in my I could feel the healing. I'm out of words. Thank you so much for all what you did, and let's continue doing that. That's amazing.
I'd like to welcome everyone to change your view to gallery mode and open your cameras so that we can say hello to each other. It's so good to share good face. Yeah, I see you, Franca. Beautiful woman. And I see Christopher. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, I see you too, Kate. Wonderful, wonderful. And Suzanne, thank you for being here. Now we've got some music to give me backup.
If anyone wants, you can go to the three dots where the music is coming from and choose to pin post, and you can see it larger on your screen.
Oh, well, that changes it all. I want to thank you, Marco. Too bad the music is so loud.
Good.
I want to thank you for all the work and all the learning that you've had to do in order to make this happen. Thank you so much.
I couldn't do it without everybody's support.
Yeah.
This is definitely a team effort. Probably the best team I've ever worked with.
I want to have a suggestion.
I'll sign in very soon, guys, as soon as I have an update, because I'll have to drive to the hotel. So hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, it was beautiful. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
No problem.
Oh, fun and games.
I see us all dancing around the sculpture. Let it continue.
Yes, let it continue. Yeah, it was very moving, and for them to and not just, I mean, the fact that we're here on Zoom from so many places is wonderful, but also the fact that they went to such efforts to get there to be together was a beautiful thing. And so I look forward to seeing y'all in an hour and a half. You're welcome.
Can I say something?
Yes, of course. You're welcome to stay on. Yes.
3 o'clock. It's in 30 minutes. Oh no, I'm 1 hour. I'm in Switzerland. I'm 1 hour different. Sorry.
No, that's good. That's clarifying it. Yes, that's good.
Sorry. I don't want to confuse you.
Yes.
I just want to say welcome, Rob. You're just in time to be too late. And in an hour and a half, we're going to be starting the conversations, but they're going to be gathering. Well, we can continue here.
Wonderful.
So you guys have a marvelous time.
Thank you. It's wonderful having you here, Shannon.
Yeah, and I put the link in the chat for the live stream that it'll be recorded and available on Facebook Live.